I am Jesus Freak. So, one of the topics that I wanted to cover today was the term Christian. There's three places in the Bible that talks about the term Christian and Christianity and where it comes from. So, to get a better understanding what Christianity is, let's go back to where it originated in the Bible. It is mentioned in Acts 11:26, yet again in Acts 26:28, and 1 Peter 4:16. Acts 11:26. And when he found him, he brought him to Antioch. So for a whole year, Barnabas and Saul met with the church and taught a great number of people. The disciples were first called Christians first at Antioch. There's massive persecution going on all around the world at this point, and people are fleeing from this persecution. So people flee to Antioch. So many people that it wasn't noticeable. It's like a football stadium. So many, like a football stadium being filled with people. Okay, so now, and this is what I find is very interesting. As in 26, it says the disciples. Okay, note that. All right, we're gonna break that up. The disciples were called. Okay, were called. All right, Christians first. Okay, this is where it all started. Was Antioch. The term Christian originated from Antioch, all right? So people outside this big, massive gathering at Antioch are looking at these people over here and like, man, all these people are followers of Christ. They're Christians. And that's where Christians came from. It was because it was such a mass gathering. People wanted to identify to who those people were, and there was no better way to other than say they're followers of Jesus, okay? So the term Christian is from, we're using Strong's Greek here, is Christianos. It's from Christos, which is the anointed one, or Christ, the Messiah. Okay, so it's Jesus, right? And Anos is a group or sect or a group of people. So it is literally saying a group of, or the followers of, or sect of Christ. Okay, we're going to move on to our next verse, and it's Acts 26:28. So then Agrippa said to Paul, "Do you think that in such a short time you can persuade me to be a Christian?" Now, yet again, this is someone outside of the brotherhood of believers. All right, this is someone outside identifying with people inside as Christians. That's what King Agrippa is doing here. He's saying, "Do you think you can make me be a Christian?" And Paul, I love Paul's reply to this. And it says, Paul replied, "Short time or long, I pray to God that not only you, but all who are listening to me today may become what I am except for these chains." Okay? So basically what happens, the backstory, if you read a little bit further up in the passage, is Saul becomes Paul, and Paul now is witnessing to crazy for Jesus, okay? And people are just like, this is not, you're Saul, you're supposed to be killing these people, not saving and freeing these people at all. And so they have an uproar and say that he's blaspheming and he's doing all this wrong stuff, and they put him in chains, and he appeals to Caesar, and he has to go through all these processes, and King Agrippa now, he's giving his testimony to King Agrippa, and that's what he's doing, okay? And King Agrippa is just like, "You think this is like a ploy? You think you're going to make me a Christian? Like, what are you trying to do here?" And, eventually King Agrippa is just like, "I see no wrongs with what he's done. I see no wrongs with what he's doing." He says if he could be set free if he had not appealed to Caesar. So that's the next portion of this, okay? So it's yet again two occurrences where people outside of the brotherhood of believers is identifying the brotherhood of believers as Christ followers. So we have 1 Peter 4:16. "However, if you suffer as a Christian, do not be ashamed, but praise God that you bear that name." Paul is writing in 1 Peter that not to worry about suffering for being a follower of Christ, being a Christian. Okay, so there's only 3 times that this is brought up. 3 times in the New Testament, and it's not even brought up in the Old Testament that I have found. Okay, but the term Christian it's used as an outside identification term. It wasn't used, except for in 1 Peter 4:16, as an inside identification. Okay, people inside the brotherhood of believers, they didn't call themselves Christians. Okay, the disciples called one another brethren, disciples, apostles, servants, believers, followers, the faithful, the elect, the called, and saints, children. That is who they identified themselves as. They didn't identify themselves as Christian. You have to understand that Paul is also in 1 Peter 4:16 as he's talking to a mass gathering of people that don't fully comprehend who they are. Okay, Paul's whole entire ministry was talking to people who didn't understand who they truly were. Okay, so Christianity is not a bad term whatsoever. And no, Jesus was not a Christian. He was a child of God. So that's his true identity, and that's the root of it all. What is your true identity? It's an identity issue. You are children of God, co-heirs with Christ, made perfect, righteous, and holy. That is who Jesus says and has made you to be. It's a mindset. Get in that mindset of who you truly are, and stop believing what religion tells you, what Christianity tells you, because it's about what Jesus says. And Jesus says one thing, and therefore it is. So, I love you guys. Jesus loves you guys. And thank you guys so much for being a part of this video. And you guys take care.